But the hour is coming and is now here when the true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and truth, for the Father is seeking such people to worship Him. So why do we worship? Well, if you've never been to church before, or maybe you don't have the same background as I do, but ultimately we worship because it should be the response that we have to God, just who He is. That's what it is. That's how Paul Barker put it. It's a response to God's self-revelation and just His ultimate value. And when we worship, see, our bodies are made up of spirit, body, and soul. And so when we are worshiping our spirits, they're coming in together with God's spirit. And in that moment, it's almost like we are being brought back into the Garden of Eden, where that intimate place and that closeness of being with God. And He literally His spirit is coming down to us, and it's meeting with ours. And in that moment is also a transformation of our whole inner being. Our hearts are transformed, our mind is transformed, our behavior is transformed, and our emotion. So, whatever that looks like, at the one conference last year, during one of the last big worship nights, I had a moment where the Spirit just came over me completely, and it totally took me to the ground, and I was yelling my head off, I was screaming. That's just what came out. But it was beautiful just to know that we can worship freely in that way, that we have been brought close to the Father because of Jesus. Because of what Jesus did in His work on the cross, we can worship God the way that we were intended to worship Him. We can go back to the garden and just dwell in that presence. And so my encouragement to you guys is, don't be afraid to lift your hands, or don't be afraid to jump if you got it and you feel like jumping, or just or singing out loud, no one is judging you, and your voice and nothing like that. Just worship the Father because He wants that. He wants to just be with you in that moment. God, not only is He the focus point of our worship, but He is also the initiator of it. So the worship should come from, again, just the response of who God is and just His awesomeness and His self-revelation to us. So yeah, that's why we worship.